so finally I get a chance to talk about Phantasy Star Online 2, the beta, which I played last month, and I was kind of fighting an illness at the time, but it was the one thing that finally put a smile on my face that I could finally play it. And I gotta go back to the beginning and talk about this, and we're gonna talk about, the old Phantasy Star Online and the newer Phantasy Star Online, which is Phantasy Star Online 2. Let's go back to the beginning here. I'm gonna say I'm a huge Phantasy Star fan. I think a lot of you know that. Some brand new people to the channel may not. I loved all of the original games, and then nearly 20 years ago, something came out on the Dreamcast that completely blew me away. Like, the very first game blew me away because it was just so revolutionary at the time, the first game on the Master System. But the next game that would really blow me away was Phantasy Star Online right here for the Dreamcast. And why this is such a big deal is that this is the very first online console RPG released for the Dreamcast. Yes, there was PC online RPGs available at the time, but this was the first time a console got an online RPG. And it was a really big deal. I got to play it with my Dreamcast keyboard. A lot of great memories. And I gotta say, and I have to state this, at the time, you'd never seen anything like this with the visuals, but the online play. And I was part of a very big forum back in the day, and I remember we were all talking about it, and that night we were gonna get online for the very first time. And I remember I showed up in the lobby, and all of a sudden, all the people that I've been talking to were there in physical form in front of me, and we were all typing through like a keyboard. And I'd never experienced anything like that. It was a video game historic moment. And we went off and had these amazing adventures. And then, obviously, I got all of the rest of the games. I was very addicted to this game. I spent 750 hours playing these versions of the game together. And I loved it. Looking back now, it's a very simple RPG where you just kind of run out, get some loot, hang out with your friends, and that's that. So, now 8 years ago in Japan, they were lucky enough to get Phantasy Star Online 2. And I was rubbing my hands together saying, when are we getting ours? I can't wait to play this game. This is going to be great. I'm going to get my old friends back. We're going to have a good time. We're going to do this. And then a year would go by, then another year, then another year, another year, another year. Before I knew it, 8 years has passed since Phantasy Star Online 2 was released in Japan, and it's been released on nearly every machine out there. But not so in North America until Sega announced that there was going to be an Xbox version first, and then it was going to come to every other console in North America in 2020. That's where we're at now. I was like, whoa. And then the number one thing that, who could be upset about this? It was free. A free download. You can play the game for free. Wow. I mean, you can't make it any easier to play a game than making it free. So I was very excited about the beta. And I was like, my anticipation, it was the first time at that point I'd been excited about something in a long time. And so that first night I was like, yes, and I got everything together and I'm ready to go. I dusted off the Xbox and I'm like, let's do this. And then I couldn't connect. I got in, then I was booted out. The first night was a bit of a disaster because nobody could get on, and all my friends that were getting on as well, they all waited around for a bunch of hours and said, we're giving up. And I'm like, this is to be expected. I knew it. I knew there would be problems that first night with everybody trying to jump on because it's a beta. They're testing everything. They had never tested the Xbox version yet. This is a brand new thing. That's why I believe they were starting with this version. So all of my friends left and I was like, man, I was really bummed out. The enthusiasm, the excitement turned into frustration, turned into disappointment. And I was like, well, I guess I'll try again tomorrow. I thought, you know what? It's been maybe another hour. I'll I'll try to log back in. Boom, I get in. And I'm standing there in the lobby. And I'm like, I'm playing Phantasy Star Online too. But none of my friends are around. But I got to run around. I got to jump into the very first forest level and run around there with a bunch of people. And people are showing up. It's a very different style of game to Phantasy Star Online, but it's the same idea. And so I'm just running around fighting things. I have no idea what I'm doing. No idea what is going on. And that feels really great. That's why I wanted to jump into this to see what it was all about. So the next day, my friend JKB came on. He also has a character called I think it was Dr. Sleep. Too funny. And I created my character, and we got in and played all day. And what was the experience like? I'm going to get into some details here. I had a good time. I had a good time hanging out with my friend, doing these levels. And then, I played that entire day, and then I played the next day, and I was like, okay, I think we played about 14 hours for that 2 days for the beta, just the beta, and then the beta was over, right? And I was like, what do I think about that? What did I think about the experience? And it's really interesting. I think, I'm going to talk about all the positive here. Visuals, after 8 years, are still really good. Like the lands that you traverse look beautiful. And let me say, unlike the original Phantasy Star, there was a lot more lands to explore. And it's a basic game. You start off in a hub world, and you go down to different levels. You fight through the levels, fight a boss, and then that's it. And you get loot. It's all about the loot. And what this game is really about is just upgrading your character. That's what it's fully all about. And I gotta say, for a new player coming into this game, I think the learning curve is quite high on all the different things that you can do with your character. There are so many things you can do with your character. There's so many ways to enhance your character. Even at the end of the beta, I was wrapping my head around how to do most of it, but I hadn't figured it all out by any stretch of the imagination. Mags were back, little robotic characters that kind of float beside you that evolve over time. You feed them and stuff like that. But there was skill trees. I mean, there was pets that you could get now. There's a lot of things you can upgrade, and you could do a lot of upgrading in the original, but Phantasy Star Online 2 takes it to a different level. So there's that. There's the visuals are gorgeous. The boss encounters were awesome. I love these boss encounters. They were so gigantic, and it was so fun taking them down, either solo or with my friend or with a big group of people. And so I did enjoy it quite a lot. Now here's the thing. I don't know what I went in to expecting, because Phantasy Star Online was such a huge leap in video gaming. You basically had gone from just playing offline RPGs to all of a sudden an online RPG on a console. It's like, what? That was a big jump. So I don't know if I was expecting some big jump like that, and I didn't get it, right? I got Phantasy Star Online again, but with a lot more things to do, with a lot more places to go. And I don't know if I was disappointed by that fact. I almost had Shenmue 3 syndrome at that point, thinking, what Shenmue and Phantasy Star Online did nearly 20 years ago blew everybody away. You'd never seen anything like that. Where the sequels now, Shenmue 3 and Phantasy Star Online 2, they're good games, but they don't have that same power knockout punch that they did 20 years ago. And that completely makes sense. And I came to terms with that, but I was kind of like, I don't know what I expected from the game. Was it going to do more? No, it's doing more of the same, and that's great. And where the fun of the game came for me was running around with my friends, figuring out all the things you could do, having a laugh, and going into a lobby. And I always used to love going to lobbies and typing really weird things, and people going, what the hell? What's going on, type of thing. So I really had a bit of fun just getting back into that aspect. And will I be playing it more in the future? Definitely. I'll jump in for a couple of hours here and there, But it's not like the same level of excitement that I had 20 years ago. And that makes sense. What was brand new and fresh there is commonplace now. You know, online gaming is normal now on consoles, but 20 years ago it wasn't. So therefore, this is pretty the norm now. People, you know, get online, start playing and go, oh yeah, an online game, play with my friends, no big deal. Or, you know, like, you know, my nephew's playing Fortnite, doesn't even think about it. Not a big jump in gaming. It's just the norm now. I really enjoyed it, and it's really been fascinating that I finally got a chance to look at some of the artwork for Phantasy Star Online 2, and just incredible. And the one thing that I will say, the amount of items and loot is off the charts. There's so much stuff to get. Like this, I'll use that as an example. There's so much stuff to get in this game, and I really love the character customization. I really like the monster designs and all of that. I think the music is adequate, and I think it's good. It's not as, you know, to me, it doesn't stand out the way Phantasy Star Online's music did. That music at the time, the first time you went down to the planet, to the forest level, the first time you heard Pioneer 2 as music, that was unreal. So I think the music is good, and I think the levels are good. It's very repetitious, but this style of game. That's his style of game. It's like a Diablo game. You just do levels over and over, fight things over and over and over again to get better loot, to enhance your character, to get a sense of self-fulfillment with your character and all the things that you can do with your character. And then you can also go into different difficulty settings if things get easier for you, and into different difficulty settings, you'll get better loot. That's the way it's always gone in Phantasy Star Online. And was it worth the wait? Yeah. Do I wish this had come out a long time ago? Like 8 years ago? Yeah, and I think back then it would have had a bit more of a power punch with me, but it is a game that's 8 years later, right? From a game that's 20 years later. So I think I'm going to play this game. I'm going to have a bit of fun, but I would really love to play a Phantasy Star Online 3 game now with real next-gen graphics and all of that, because this game we're playing is 8 years old, but the great thing is it's free. It's free, so I can't grumble about a free game that I played for 14 hours on a beta that I had a great amount of fun with. I did have a great amount of fun. It was fun exploring some of these levels and journeying the world and just seeing all the characters, the different characters that people create. That's a lot of fun, but I gotta say, I love the Phantasy Star series, and especially the Phantasy Star Online series in general. I like where it started from, and where it's at right now is in a good place. It's not a bad place at all, and I recommend it for anybody who's never played a Phantasy Star game before. This is a fun place to jump in, because you can just say, hey guys, say to all your friends, let's download the game for free, jump on and go fight some monsters. You'll have a good time, that's for sure. So I just want to come in and give my kind of first thoughts, first impressions, experience playing the beta, and I'm looking forward to playing it, I think in about another week or so, when there's a new beta for it for the Xbox. So anyways guys, until next time.